I've been living in Spain on a minimal salary for 3 years now. And while that idea made me nervous at first, I find that I'm much happier now. Living frugally isn't what I envisioned when I moved here, but I learned how to thrive. I'll tell you the changes that I made to make this possible. When I first moved here, I wasn't concerned about my income since my brokerage accounts were really healthy. I had time to figure out how I would generate a modest income. I gave myself 2 years to recover from burnout. Coming from the States, I was committed to working for myself. I understood that it meant having a very low salary for a long time. Living in the countryside of Asturias, it's a blessing as the cost of living here is lower than other parts of Spain and it's significantly lower than living in Florida. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kina. I'm an American married to a Spaniard living in the countryside in northern Spain, Asturias to be specific. Currently, I'm in the early stages of developing my business here in Asturias, and I run two YouTube channels. This one, Asturico, and my other channel is called Things Your Mom Should Have Told You, where I talk about US current events and technology. Between the channels, I earn on average 1,000 euros per month. For the most part, my expenses are the same as in the video I created last year called How Much Does It Really Cost to Live in Spain? Since that video, I have created this channel and I have to be fully mindful about how I spend my money. The biggest surprise I had was learning that YouTube pays a lot less in Spain than it does in the US, and working on two channels on my own, it can be really stressful at times. Asturico is a passion project for me. I couldn't find many channels sharing the beauty of Asturias beyond the churches and the hiking, and I wanted to find a channel that filled that gap, so I did it. And that being said, if I'm not careful, I can end up spending more money than I should. I am so proud that I was able to go to Tito Bustillo. First, it was because I was able to book a tour within the same week. And the second, I was able to secure a ticket for a free day. Blessedly, when I started these channels, much of the equipment that I needed to start, I already had because I've wanted to start a YouTube channel since 2017.
Porque íbamos a buscar otra. Pero bueno, encontramos, digamos, una cima. Pues el primer día que se bajó a la cueva, ustedes...
I did have to buy some things to get it going, like lights and hard drive, and that was a little more than 150 euro to get me started. I could have done it with less if I hadn't bought the lights, but I needed them in my opinion. When I started my first YouTube channel, I thought it would take longer to start generating income. Still, it took me 2 months to become eligible and 3 months to become monetized. If you're outside of the US and you're starting a YouTube channel, don't make the mistake that I did. Prepare your AdSense account in advance so you don't have to wait a month like I did. YouTube puts ads on your videos whether you're monetized or not, and you never know if you're gonna make that video that's gonna blow up over Christmas like I did. In the US, I put a lot of energy into work. While my actual salary never matched my efforts, I did receive stock options as a bonus, and that allowed me to buy my house in Spain. It allowed me to pay off all my debts except for my student loan. If you fall, it goes in the video. For me, it's always been important for my work to drive value, help other people. That was the fuel that allowed me to work 70-hour weeks. The desire to quickly pay off my student loan sometimes tempts me to take on a new role. Then I remember I can create great things if I take that same energy I put into somebody else's business and put it into my own. Now, I look at life differently. Life is much simpler than it was in the US. I had a yard there, but I grow food to eat here. Right now, we're discussing which trees we want to plant in our orchard. I want a mango tree. My daughter wants a peach tree. We still haven't grown okra, but we know where to buy some when we want some. In the States, we were too exhausted to cook. So we often had delivery. Now my meals are made with whole, fresh food, mostly grown in our yard, and growing our own food is one of the most significant changes that I've made, enabling us to live on a small salary. We've also discovered different places to buy food that we actually can't grow ourselves. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in learning more about how I shop for food in Spain versus how I used to shop for food in the US. On the face of it, it seems similar, but there are some differences that are quite surprising. Sometimes I'm filming you and you don't even know.
That's callos.
Adios.
Callos and
Yeah.
looks like a fried shrimp or something.
Every once in a while, we'll go out for a meal. Most often, we'll go to a cafe for a pincho and a coffee just as a treat. Recently, there was an article in the paper about a restaurant in Villaviciosa that I'd driven by at least 100 times. We finally got to try that one out.
Sí, sí, sí. That looks so good. ¿No te gusta el pulpo a ti? Ay, me encanta ella.
Gracias.
Sí, me acuerdo la primera vez que la llevé a comer. Oh, she loves good. Can you play closer? Can you play closer?
Like the flan doesn't have a bunch of sugar. You're acting like flan doesn't have much sugar. Our solar system is a big savings. It's operational. It hasn't crossed the space where it's making us money yet, but once we cross that threshold, our electricity will be free. Our current electricity, we use a lot more than our neighbors, frankly, because I thought maybe it was because of our electric usage habits from the US, and that's part of it. But a lot of people here use gas. Our home is fully electric. Our heat pump, our ventilation system, our kitchen, all fully electric. We drive an electric car and we take weekly road trips. So we do consume more electricity than most, but we pay less overall. We are mindful of how we charge our car. We limit our charging to daytime hours to avoid draining our backup battery. Being intentional about when we charge helps us to ensure that we aren't pulling from the grid, and that eliminates a lot of our power bill. All of these things have significant upfront costs, but the savings in fuel, just fuel alone, the savings are substantial. It was hard giving up the life that I had back then. Looking back, I see the people I used to work with. Many of them have lost their roles due to downsizing, just like I did. Some of them have found other jobs. Some are still struggling to find their next job. Some of them have even started their own business. Looking back, I could not have lived a life like this in the US. It's beyond the cost of living being far less here. A lot of fulfillment did come from working in the United States. Here, I've learned what enough means to me. I'm no longer scrolling through the internet to find that new pair of shoes that'll make me happy in that moment. I polish the shoes that I own already. I eat well. I go for strolls. I learn to know more rather than just to try and climb the ladder. Last week, I met two of you guys for coffee. These are the little things that bring me joy. When you give me ideas and suggestions in the comments, since I have two channels, my husband Roberto, he helps me in the comments too. Say hi if you can. Because I have 2 channels, I spend less time in the garden than I should. I also spend less time on home projects. We still have a lot of work to do on this house. We've put them on the back burner, some because of time commitments and others just because we're being mindful about costs. And because we do live on a tight budget, we have to be mindful about our expenses. Sometimes a lot of them come all at once. A few months ago, it was time to renew our home and car insurance. We needed a new set of tires for the car. At that point, I was getting fewer views on both of my channels, and it was because I was worried about my family back in the US and it was affecting everything that I was doing. We had savings on hand and we were able to accommodate these expenses. There are times when I wish we didn't have to be as creative, but I am grateful for what we've learned over these 3 years. I do still worry about my family and my friends, but I've actually figured out how to manage it much better. We've also learned how to extend our euros and live a life that's filled with joy. When buying new things, I seek out handmade items or I shop for things that have lived a life before they've come into my home. And I focus on buying things that are meant to last. There are little things that I consume that I'm still trying to replace, like this balm. I haven't found a product that I like as much as this, and I can't find it here without paying 20 bucks for it, including shipping. This one's my last one, and I bought it when I went to the States last year, and it was only 8 bucks. I can't imagine paying 20. There are other things that I miss from the States that I can make myself, like the Trader Joe's everything but the bagel seasoning and their umami seasoning. I can find most of the ingredients at the weekly market. I'm even daring to explore making my own apple cider vinegar with the apples from my yard. Living more affordably is often more doable in Spain. It's not being a minimalist as a part of a trend. It's really about being more intentional with time and with money. At least that's what my experience has been. I want to thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. YouTube wants you to watch this. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's fun, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.